Hey everybody, it's Gail, and this is Fifth Friday. As you know, I generally post the first 3 Fridays of the month, and then I realized that August has 5 Fridays this year, and I thought, I really don't want to go 2 weeks without posting a video because it's, 3 videos on, one off, etc. But I also am not so fast at stitching that I can just pull another project out of the air that's ready to go for an extra Friday in the month. And so I decided, well, there's plenty of other stuff I can talk about. So let's just do that for Fifth Friday. So welcome to that. So today what I'm actually going to do is walk you through my buckets. They're not all owls. They are a variety of animals. So these little buckets are how I organize my crochet projects, by which I mean all of the yarn for a single project goes into a bucket, and then the bucket waits its turn in the rotation. The yarn being in a bucket does not promise it's going to get done anytime soon, but it does mean it's out of the closet, which is holding yarn for other projects. So it's just sort of a light organizational system that has done me pretty well. And I've done this before where I've shown you what's in the buckets and giving you an idea of what might be coming up on the channel, and I like doing that, so we're going to do it again. So we'll start right here with the owl, and the owl is holding some gorgeous sport weight yarn. You can see that the green is it's very tonal, and this is BC Garn Alino. It is 50% linen, 50% cotton, and this is for a 1960s office dress. And the original dress looks amazing in the hunter green with the black trim, but I really like this brighter green when I found it, and I am making it out of cotton and linen so that it's very breathable, it's very wearable. It's been a very, very hot summer here, and I am very aware of needing breathable yarns for things right now. I mean, let me tell you. So that is what's going on with the owl. Next up, we'll bring up my unicorn bucket. Poor thing, lost the shiny part of the horn. So the unicorn bucket is holding this gorgeous fingering weight yarn, bright fuchsia. Let me pull the label out here. So this is from Hobby. This is, it's called Unicorn. I did not know that when I put it in the unicorn bucket. So it's unicorn. It is merino wool and polyamide. I don't know how to say that, actually. And this is going to be used to make a 1950s halter top in a petal stitch. So this has been sitting here for a while. I think I bought this yarn like a year ago. And so it is now wound and in the bucket with plans to actually bring it into the rotation soon. Because it's been waiting, and I think it's a super cute halter, and I desperately am looking forward to it. So that's what's in the unicorn bucket. Let's go to the lion bucket. I love this bucket. So this bucket is actually currently holding my longest standing project. This is a freehand beaded skirt that I am making on a 2.5mm hook and size 10 crochet thread and an absolute fuck ton of beads. So many beads. This is something I just started doing to see what would happen with it, and the answer is I will be working on it for a long time. Now, if you remember a few months ago when I showed you that absolutely gorgeous 1930s cape I made from size 30 thread, and I made sure to tell you it took 5.5 months because it took 5.5 months of regular work, I'm not going to be as worried about how long this takes because this is not a regular work project. It comes on, it goes off, it comes on, it goes off. It's just kind of around. But I did buy a tool recently to help with dealing with the fact that you have to pre-string the beads. And I'm using seed beads that come in a pack of, I believe, 500. So I string all 500, I work the skirt until I am out of beads, and then I string another 500 beads. And that actually makes it very difficult to get your thread where you need it when you're working on the actual skirt itself, because the weight of the beads and the length of the bead chain requires you to stop every usually 10 stitches, honestly, and just push them down and push them down and, push it down and push it down. But I got a tool recently. I got a little, basically a tire swing for my thread and my other yarns. So that when I do that, I don't have to do it by hand. I don't have to sit here and unwrap a bunch of this and then push all the beads down and then, 20 minutes later repeat because the thread ran into the beads and it's not moving. And I am so psyched about it. I will be talking about it soonish, probably. It's also been great. It's like, I'll link to what it is down in the basement on this video just so you can see it. And it's a yarn holder. There's a bunch of different variations on yarn holders like it, but I like this one because it swings when you work with it, so it's not going to topple. But I've also been using it I'm working on a project right now with size 40 thread, and it's been brilliant for holding that thread in place and being very workable. So that's the Lion bucket. Lion's just holding on to a very long-standing project. Let's see. Oh, okay. We will do the Fox bucket. And he does have ears. They don't pop up. So this Fox bucket is holding on to, what is this? This is Omega thread size 5. Yes, I do have a thing for fuchsia. And it's holding on to Omega thread size 5, and then I know that this is DMC size 5 because I used it to make a collar from the 1940s a little while ago. And this is going to be used to make a 1950s blouse that I found on freevintagecrochet.com. And so the yellow is going to be for some of the for the little stripe parts, but it's mostly going to be fuchsia because I'm not a subtle person. And as always, Free Vintage Crochet is an amazing resource if you're looking for vintage patterns. They do have a great deal of ads, but I promise you it's a 100% safe website. I use it all the time. I was on it last week, so, always would recommend. I will link in the basement for that. Next up, the koala bucket. Yay, koala bucket. So this one is actually holding an in-progress hat made of raffia, and I found this raffia at Fiber Rhythm here in Portland, which is a great yarn store. It's Adrillafil? Adrillafil. I'll call it Adrillafil. And I have it in blue, and then I also have it in this fun multicolor. So this is for a hat from Perio Yarns, which is also known as Ghost Show Yarns. I've made a few of their pieces recently. I've talked about them before. They have this enormous archive of crochet patterns and knitting patterns for free. Always recommend you go through it. I will, of course, link to it in the basement. But I'm making this really cute hat just because I found this raffia and I wanted to make something. And I thought because there is cellulose in the yarn that it recommends, which is now a discontinued Perio yarn, that it was just like raffia. It's plant-based. But in fact, it's much closer to yarn than raffia. But oh well. It'll look slightly different, but it'll still be a hat. And I like good hat. Alright, you go there. Who's next? Oh, wait. Oh, I just put the koala on top of another bucket. This is the giraffe bucket. I really need to, starch him so that his ears and his little dealy boppers stand up. And it is holding on to Aunt Lydia's Crochet Thread Fashion 3 in, purple and teal. And these will be used to make, I have 2 of these. I have 4 altogether. These will be used to make a pair of 1950s slippers from one of the Quick Tricks booklets that were very big in the 1950s. And so Quick Tricks were just collections of patterns for the home and for accessories. And so you would make slippers and hats and bags and placemats and bathroom accessories. And there's a bunch of them, and I love them. And there's a bunch of them for specifically Speed Crocheting, which was one of the original size 3 threads that came out. And it was a big deal when size 3 came out because it was the largest thread. The whole pitch of it was you can make the same project in half the time with this large thread. Large thread, my ass. Yeah, the largest hook it recommends is an E-hook, and I think the slippers are actually made on a C-hook. So that's always very funny to me. But again, I'm working with size 40 thread right now, so yes, this is huge, and I'm very excited. So that's the giraffe bucket. And then I have the sloth bucket. And this is holding on to a bunch of Knit Picks Wool of the Andes in sport weight. So I have it in this green. And then I have one skein of this dark blue. And what I am making with this is... that is upside down. Hold on. There we go. I am making a shawl in filet crochet. Oh, wow. I haven't actually seen it, like, reflected at me because I'm just working on it, but, like, seeing it now where I can really see the pattern coming out, that's coming out nice. Oh, that's gorgeous. So this pattern is from Interweave Crochet. I believe it was from their spring 2017 issue. It's this gorgeous shawl. They call it the Monarch shawl because they did it in Monarch colors. I'm doing green with some blue accents because I can. And this has been really fun because I really like filet crochet as like an idea. I really love how you can work with it and make whatever you want in terms of images. But this is the first like really like going for it filet crochet pattern that I've worked on. And I found several issues with the written part of the pattern. A couple of them are technically not wrong, but again, I remind you, I'm a tech writer in my day job. I can't help but be like, that's not how I would do that. But the chart itself appears to be absolutely pristine. There's a huge chart for making this. Although the example of the lancet stitch in the chart is wrong. Follow the written instructions for the lancet stitch and you will get the correct lancet stitch. The chart shows an extra skip stitch on either side that should not be there. I checked Interweave Crochet for the errata for the pattern because I thought at least that would be fixed, and they don't have any errata for the Monarch shawl, which is wrong. And it won't be updated because Interweave Crochet shut down production back in, I think, 2021. But that's okay because you have me here to tell you how to fix it. And anyway, I do think this is going to be an absolutely beautiful shawl. This is going to be a gift for someone. And I remind you, as I always like to remind you, if you like the Interweave Crochet patterns, if you like even 2 of them, get the membership because the membership is $10 a month. And the patterns are, I think, usually like $7.99 each. So if you get the membership, the patterns are free to download, and then you just have them. So, do with that what you will. Okay, so actually, speaking of Interweave Crochet, I do have 3 more piles of yarn to show you. They're just not in buckets right now, but they're over here because I was organizing buckets. So I have right here, this is DK Weight Cotton from Knit Picks, which I have 5 skeins of this left over from the Big Barda cosplay because I was afraid of running out of yarn again, so I over-ordered slightly. But that's okay because now I have enough yarn to make another Interweave Crochet project, which is the Elfin Top, which I started making, I don't know, a while back. I remember buying the yarn for it. I forget where that yarn ended up. It's in a project somewhere, I'm sure. But I was having trouble because they said to use extended single crochet on every single stitch to make this sort of textured look. And I was doing it, but it was not coming out well. And I couldn't figure out what the problem was. And then working on the Monarch shawl, I looked up the instructions for the extended single crochet because I'm like, wait a minute, I remember working on another interweave pattern where this did not work out for me. And it turns out what I call extended single crochet, either there's a couple of different ways to do it or I've just been doing it wrong the whole fucking time, which is very funny because it has always worked for me in the way that I do it. And so learning that there is another way to do it, I'll just say it's another way to do it. They get you a very different stitch, and a very different stitch to build on is very funny. So, yeah, so now I pulled this pattern out of the, I don't want to do this because it pissed me off pile and put it back into, let's actually try to make it. So we're going to try to make it. I have Hawthorn. This is Hawthorn sock yarn from Knit Picks in Blueberry Speckle. This will be to make socks for Sean because I've started making socks and I really like it. And the socks I will be making will be from the Crocheted Socks book, which I love. And that book is out of print, and that publisher is out of business. But you can still find copies of the book. I made one sock, not even a whole pair, one sock from that book, because it turned out the yarn I was using is not actually great for socks. You'll see the video on that one. I think it's coming in September. But the pattern itself was great. And so I decided I would have Sean pick what he wanted for sock yarn and make him a pair of socks out of that book. So that is exciting. And then the last yarn I have here is Knit Picks Vividi, I don't know, in worsted weight. And I do actually have an equal amount of this yarn in a bucket out in the living room. And I have it because I am making, I believe it's called Arcane's Shawl or Cowl or something. It's a spider web jacket. And I think it's really cool. It is not my vibe, but I really wanted to make it, and so I found a friend who wanted it. So it is, I finally bought the yarn for it, so it got pushed up to the beginning of the buckets, because it's for someone else, and they've been very patient waiting for me to buy the yarn for it. So I'm really looking forward to that. This is just 100% cotton. It's got a nice sheen to it, and I went with cotton because, it is just a layering piece, and it's very open work. So I thought, cotton would be great for being able to easy wear, easy care, boom. And, when it's just a layering piece like that, it's going to be year-round anyway. So, all right, I am out of organized yarn. There's plenty of unorganized yarn, but we don't need to look at that right now. And yeah, so that's what's possibly coming up on the channel sometime soon-ish. We'll see. Right now, I think I am... December's taken care of. December is done because I'm doing Vlogmas. All of those projects have been made. I'm not doing all 25 days of Vlogmas. If you've dealt with Vlogmas before, oh my god. But September, I believe September and October, I have projects for, and I've recorded for them. November, I might have a space in November, but I'm not sure yet because I'm actually not done recording on projects I've made recently, because I've been doing the big cosplay run to make Big Barda, but also I ended up putting together a crochet Barbie with that 1930s cape, and then the 1950s mesh dress that I talked about recently, and then I made a pair of socks to go with that, so I need to film the socks. So I don't know how many videos I have right now. I'm actually ahead if I will actually sit down and edit. That's the trick. I can film super easily. It's actually sitting down and editing that is where I get caught up. And we know I don't really edit that hard. Anyway, if you enjoy what I do here, please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, all of that fun stuff. I will see you at the top of the month in September. And I will also see you on the next 5th Friday, whenever that happens, which I think is November, actually. So I will see you when I see you.